All right, everybody, and welcome back. In this second video, I'll be talking about the rule of three of survival. The rule of three is very subjective in a lot of cases, but I want to make sure we cover it because this leads up to the core principles of what you need to be focusing on and prioritizing, so that way you can start packing your gear in accordance with that. Now, the rule of three is you have 3 hours for shelter, you have 3 days for water, and 3 weeks for food. Now, let me break that down in a little bit. Shelter, what a lot of people have a misconception about, shelter isn't just having something to live in, sleep in. The first level of having shelter is your clothing, because shelter, the meaning for that is to regulate your core temperature. So if you are in a stressful situation, you're out in the elements, you need to regulate your core temperature. If you're in heat, you need to cool it. If you're in hot, you need to, if you're in heat, you need to cool it. If you're in cold, you need to heat it. Laying on the ground, doesn't do well for your core temperature, which we'll get into in later videos. But your first level of defense for shelter is your clothing. So make sure you have clothing that fits the time frame and the seasons and the location of where you are. If it's in summer, maybe you don't need to carry around a wool blanket. Maybe you don't need to carry around a hoodie and base layers, mid layers, alpaca socks, and all that stuff. But if you're planning on long term, all year kind of thing, you will need that for those colder, seasons. So focus on shelter, which is 1, your clothing, and then from there, to get you off the ground, to regulate your core temperature, and to shelter you from the wind, the rain, the sun, the cold, things of that nature. So 3 hours to regulate your core temperature through shelter. 3 days to find, procure, purify, filter water. Other than that, you're going to get dehydrated. If you get dehydrated, obviously your organs are going to start shutting down. You're going to get headaches. You're not going to be thinking clearly. There's a lot of different things that can happen. Okay, so we will be covering different ways to get water as well. So then, lastly, 3 weeks for food. If you watch the TV show Alone, a lot of them, can go fine without having any food for a couple weeks up to a month, the first month, if they can handle it mentally. Because, like, for example, my healthy weight is about 170 pounds. I'm about 140 pounds, so I can lose quite a bit of weight. So as long as I'm staying active and doing what I can survive for quite a while without serious long-term damage, as long as I'm taking care of myself and I know what I'm doing. So 3 weeks for food. So now we know we're going to have a bag that we're going to keep with us, that we can carry for long distances, that will hold everything we need to survive for an indefinite amount of time. So we know that's our goal. Now we know what we need to start looking at and focusing on and prioritizing. We need to prioritize shelter. We need to prioritize water second, and then we need to prioritize food lastly. So now that we know our priorities, the rule of three, let's start looking at the principles of the gear you need to have and go on from there.